IG. What is going on? All right, we are live. So, we go ahead and get ready for today's presentation. What up, Mel? All right. Hi, Liuba. What up?
Hello.
Hey. What up,
Hey.
superstar? What's going on? All right, we got a clan now. So, hey.
Hello.
Cool. Oh, that sucks. We had 2 viewers, but I guess now you're counted as a viewer. Interesting. All right.
We'll have more.
Well,
We'll have more. You'll see.
oh no, we're good. What's up, everybody? Jumping on here. All right. It is Whitewall Wednesday. That means we're going to get into some marketing tips today. What's up, Hustle? What's up, NGF?
Hey.
So, yeah, man, we're going to get into some marketing tips today. We do this every Wednesday. It's called Whitewall Wednesday. It lasts about 30 minutes. Today's topic is content creation, specifically for your social media channels. What up? Thank you. And yeah, so we're going to feature our star today, Miss Melanie, aka Social Media Director at Whitewall Media. Been with us for a number of years. Stumbling through this here. So anyways, we're going to get started in a minute. What up, Enzo? And
Hello.
yeah, so Mel's got all sorts of tips and tricks in terms of creating your content, where to start, how to get through. If you guys haven't seen this before, sometimes I say we're going to go 30,000 feet, 20,000, 10,000, and just kind of make it easy to jump in there. So, all right, I guess we're a couple of minutes in. Might as well kick this off. So, like I said, welcome everybody to Whitewall Wednesday. We're going to do a 30-minute segment on how to create content for your social media, hopefully give you some good extra firepower. Whitewall specializes at monetizing social media, so definitely stick around for this. And we have a casual talk. Jump in if you have questions, type the questions below, or if you want to wait, like I said, it's about 30 minutes. At the end of that, we'll do a Q&A as well. So just jump in anytime you guys want if you're following. And Melanie, I guess just jumping into it, when I start with social media, typically my first brain is going to go to a 100-day calendar looking forward. You know, for some of our clients right now, we're already looking at holidays. So Black Friday, Christmas sales, like everything for Halloween. Getting ahead of all that stuff, knowing what's going to come up, not just holidays, but, you know, company promotions, or are there, you know, sort of dead spots in the year, like summer often needs, you just got to create stuff in the summer because there's not a lot happening every month. Whereas the next few months, it's so loaded up with parties and stuff. You've got to be super organized in your timing and updating of everything so that your Thanksgiving campaign doesn't cross over to Christmas. So you guys know in the marketing world, Christmas marketing starts tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding. But it does. It gets in there stupid early. You'll see all the Halloween stuff in there within the next month. I promise. It's grotesque
Yeah.
as someone that's coming in there. But I start with a 100-day calendar. That said, how do you approach content creation for social media? Like, what's the first step for you?
Well, the first step for me is research. So going back to what our creative director Naeem said in our last live is research. And then from there, we establish a strategy calendar based on the research. In those calendars, in those calendars would be themes based on the business's brand and how they coincide. Like, for example, one of our clients is Party of Color. They're an independent news organization that right now we're highlighting Black August because it is historical. There were a lot of historical events that happened in the Black community in August. So that's one of the ways how we kind of create strategy calendar with the current themes going on.
Gotcha. So yeah, I mean, I guess we both kind of, you know, initiate things with a calendar in that sense. And top level, I mean, so Posting frequency, that's one of the first things I'm going to think at when I'm looking at the calendar. How much am I putting in here? In my opinion, I tend to say you can post 10 times a month, which is like every third day on average, more or less. But I use advertising to make sure a brand stays visible every day. We do a lot of that with our clients. So even if you posted once a month, technically we'd be visible every day. But you want to have the content still fresh if someone's investigating. So like 10 times a month seems to be a pretty good base. But how do you measure frequency and sort of what are you looking for? The frequency and like the hashtags, those are probably the two hashtags, geotags, and frequency. Those are like the big things in the top level strategies. How do you approach those?
For frequency, I make sure that things are consistent. I find that consistency is key. As far as hashtags, it definitely depends on the platform. Like, for example, on Instagram, you can put up to 30 hashtags, but on Facebook, I would put less because there's an 86% chance of engagement increase when the best ideal character limit is 80.
Dude, I love cranking out extra juice with that. Yeah, looking at the limits on stuff. So you said 80 characters or less, and you'll get better output on your posts.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and every platform is different. Going back to what you said before, though, the consistency, whatever posting schedule you choose, just kind of keep consistent with that. So if you're going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, cool. If it's, every Wednesday and Saturday, cool. Whatever you want to choose. But the consistency is key because people's brains do pick up on that kind of the same way. I often say you'll only ever look at one stair on the staircase. If something's consistent, your brain just kind of knows how the rest of it works, and it's super easy. So if you keep a consistent schedule, you don't really even need to tell people. They just will pick up on that psychologically. So that consistency is definitely important. And geotags and hashtags for organic growth, if you're not going to put money into social media, those are the two biggest things that you need to take away. Geotags and hashtags will pop you into different spheres, give you visibility in different groups. With geotags, Melanie, I see on the accounts, even if it's within Miami, for example, you'll geotag different neighborhoods and different landmarks and different spaces, which is a really smart strategy to make sure that you're sort of reaching all the different bubbles in Miami. And so hashtags and geotags, you have to make sure those are used. How many do you use on each platform? Because I know you do that a little. So typically, just for everyone out there at the top level, it'll be the same theme across all of the account, across all the platforms within that account. So Facebook and Instagram and others, that day or that time might have a similar theme, but then it would be customized. So yeah, how many hashtags do you use and how do you change things for the different platforms?
So for the different platforms, for Facebook and LinkedIn, I'd use only 3 hashtags. LinkedIn, you definitely want to try to keep it as professional as possible. And then Facebook, because of the character limit that I talked about. For Instagram, I know you can put up to 30 hashtags, but I've read in my research that up to 10 would have a higher increase than doing the full 30.
Yeah,
30
I've read
hashtags.
similar, like 11 is ideal on Instagram.
Yeah.
That being said, keep in mind hashtags can also be fun, but find the ones that are visible. We'll use a hashtag strategy which combines a broad term. So if you take one of our long-lasting clients, Lechonera, for example, they were in the food industry down here in Miami, or they are in the food industry in Miami here, and we would use a big term like IG foodies. And that gets you tons of eyeballs, tons of everything. It's not super specific, but it's a big base. And then something more specific like hashtag, Cuban food, that really dials it in. So a big broad hashtag mixed with like a really specific hashtag will let you get the big audience and also the specific eyeballs you want. And always use your brand hashtag. Always, always, always use your brand.
I was just gonna mention that. I'm like, don't forget.
Yeah, that's gotta always be in there. I don't know. I see you'll often start with the brand hashtag and I always finish with it. So everyone's got their own sort of style within posting. It's kind of funny, but yeah. So at a top level, like we were saying, we start with a strategy calendar, posting frequency, I'd say at least 10 times a month and you're good. Like $1 a day of advertising on that and you've got daily visibility. If you can create content easily, by all means, go for it. But if you have a hard time creating content like most people do, because it takes a lot of brain power, you can do 10 times a month. It'll still be fresh. Hashtags, geotags, that is your primary source of free organic traffic, just jumping into different circles. And then keep in mind, you can use the same theme for the day at that time, and just customize it to each platform. So less hashtags on Facebook and LinkedIn, a little more professional on LinkedIn, obviously, and just keep that in mind. So like I said, 30,000 foot, we're good. And so let's kind of get down to the 20,000 foot now. Once you know how many times you're posting a month, once you know your audience, you've done the research, you've got the hashtags in mind, you know your themes, you're ready to go. Once you have your themes, where do you go from there?
Once I have my themes, I dive into any of, um, first I dive into kind of what the competitors are doing on their end. And I try to see how I can make it better, and also using what our company has. No, I'm sorry, what the businesses have to try to make our content together.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, and I typically, like, I'm going to look through, I guess, the themes myself, and always, like, the first thing I'll do is, what is the most important thing to get out? And that's going to take the most important time date. For me, that's always how I would sort of approach it. And then just move down the list. What's the second most important thing? What's the third most important? So on our side, I don't know if you guys have heard of the 80-20 rule. Nobody wants to hear you sell yourself 100% of the time. You'd never read a magazine that only just sold itself. So, we typically keep sales, like direct sales, to 20% of the content. And that is the most important thing that we're going to be pushing. So that would take, a Friday or a Saturday or one of the biggest organic traffic days, right? We want that to take our biggest placement. And then the second might be testimonials, thought leadership, something that provides a bit more substance to the company and really lets you see behind the company. People like to see more than a brand. So letting them see behind the curtains there, and getting into that has always been a good sort of starting point on my end. So that's interesting then. And I hadn't really gotten into that, but the competition has so much for you in terms of creating themes and thinking of content and going through everything. You can go on a treasure hunt, and sometimes I'll say, well, I don't say this, I ripped this off from somebody else. Good artists copy and great artists steal. So whatever, I'll say that I said that. And it's true. I mean, you can look around, and there's nothing wrong with looking at your competitors and seeing what's working for them and what doesn't work for them. Find the themes, find the content, pull that in, bookmark it, and then leverage that. And to your point, Mel, before God gave me the benefit of Mel on my team, and I had to do this on my own, there was no shortage of stuff that I could find from the companies themselves. I mean, unless you've just opened your company, I can almost guarantee you've got content for days. You've got blogs, you've got about us pages, some videos, some stuff you've posted on social already. If you go through a treasure hunt on an account, you can usually find a ton of stuff in that treasure chest. So the competition and the brand itself, two big treasure chests of content right out of the gate. And then what else would you look for, Mel? Like after the competitor and the brand, how would you start approaching content?
I would dive into any campaigns that they're having. So if they're having newsletters or if they're doing weekly podcasts, I make sure I would like to elevate those things, so that there's more awareness to what the business is doing. And then from there, I would, going back to the themes, go to like quotes or something that would be relatable to the brand and the business.
That makes sense. Okay. And yeah, what other tips would you have for, I guess, just the actual, this is probably the hardest part, actual content creation. Yeah, like how can, any other tips on how people can approach that and just dig deep? Obviously, if this is your job for a living, like Mel, it comes easier for some than others, but I guess you can get blogs. You can often just buy a blog, break that into social media posts. That helps a lot sometimes if you're really getting stuck with copywriting. Yeah, think of the seasons, find quotes, inspiration for people in the industry that you can put on
Facts.
facts. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, all right. So I guess just kind of leading us down to the end of this here, what do you think is different for people that are just doing this themselves? And then maybe you can tell people, I guess, a bit how this works with Whitewall Media. But in terms of the content creation phase, yeah, what is like if I just had a fun account versus I have an account with Whitewall, what does it look like to create content?
Well, if you have a fun account, you don't really get into the nitty-gritty research of stuff. You can use like tools like Canva to create your own graphics and like Hootsuite, let's say, to schedule everything all together. But at an agency, you have graphic designers, you have people that come together to help you develop the best content for your audience.
I love the team that we have together, by the way. Yeah, and it does take a little bit longer. Sometimes, sometimes a business owner can literally just go live or do like a shot at the store or, whatever happens to be going on. And it's great content. Um, like you said, they just go on Canva. You can actually create it, do it, put it out real fast. With Whitewall, yeah, that does take a team and a process. We have a creative director who really thinks through the process. What are our goals? What is the audience? How does this all fit together? An art director who builds everything based on the branding. Yeah, you and our social media director who actually makes sure that all the posts are tied in. So the content really kind of branches out in a big way. So yeah, you have a lot of, like you said, a lot of intelligent people kind of touching the project as it moves through an agency. Um, so, pros and cons to each. If you do it yourself, it could be fast, easy, and really almost free. And you just take stuff
Mhm.
and put it through the channel. With an agency, though, we really, our job is to make money off of the channel. We make social media profitable. So, so either which way, nothing to worry about. But if you have any hard time with this, guys, give us a shout. Melanie and I can come up with a strategy. And I don't know if there's any questions. I didn't see any of them coming in. Maybe it's because we covered everything. But otherwise, yeah, any last tips?
Last tips. Also, don't forget to tag either brands, people, or just brands, people, or companies that, go with the post that you're talking about. Just recently, we had, for a client, we had a post that kind of had a lot more likes than usual because we had tagged a company or an organization that shared it to their story, and then those people went ahead and liked our post. So
Yeah,
tagging
I
is
guess
definitely.
moving in. I mean, if you guys want to jump out of content creation and just get into fun tips on social, that's a big one. The way that you tag people on like Instagram, for example, um, can vary. So yeah, if you have them traditionally in the post, like kind of like over the image in there, that means that your post is actually going to appear in their profile, and it's the sort of secondary view of their profile. But you can start to pop onto major organizations and get some super organic leverage by tagging people there, and then also put them in like as you're mentioning them, mention them a second time. So tagging them multiple times and the geotags, tagging them where they work and stuff like that, you get tons of organic visibility like that. So that's true. And on Facebook, I think one of my favorite tips, as people are engaging with your content on Facebook, anyone who has liked or commented or done something in there, you can then invite them to like the page.
Mhm.
And we generate a ton of just organic follower growth by inviting people to like the page that have liked the post. So if you're creating great content and you're putting that out there on Facebook, make sure that you're going in there and following up with that component. You do it directly within the post. Click like the 36 likes or whatever. Just click that number, and as you're looking at all that, you just invite people in there. Do that on a regular basis. The following and unfollowing, we do
Mhm.
a ton of. We do that more manually. I don't really trust systems as much, but yeah.
Well, we kind of forgot about stories.
Story, yeah.
Instagram stories,
Yeah, how
Facebook
do you
stories.
create for stories as opposed to just like a traditional post?
Well, for stories, you want to be more interactive. Adding hashtags to the story also helps you increase awareness and things like that. Posting stories at least as many times as possible helps with at least the Instagram algorithm. Trying to add polls, locations, things like that, just to make your story noticeable.
And a good thing to keep in mind is where you can drop links and like those calls to action, right? So every post really you're trying to, um, I guess sometimes people forget there's a call to action. It's just like a post just for the sake of it. But yeah, generally we're trying to get people somewhere. The Instagram post, you have to actually get them to go into the bio or send you a DM. You can't have a clickable link in there. But in stories and other places and advertising, you can insert more interactive elements. Reminders for an event. We love doing that in our stories. So dropping a reminder for the event in the story, and then people actually have like a reminder coming up. So yeah, stories are awesome, super powerful. And for advertising, you have to really just take into account that everything is just super skinny. So if you have existing graphics, it usually will not look good in stories, just because it gets chopped so heavily. So you'll have like half words and stuff appearing in there. You do have to create that specifically. Canva is a great tool if you're not familiar with Photoshop and some of those more basic software elements. Canva.com is like drag and drop. So that's pretty powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Content, by the way, is there a time that you want to post? So like everyone has their own theories. I still think prime time, like what you would call prime time TV, which has always been traditionally, kind of the evening when people are settling down, don't have much else to do. I still find that's the best bang for my buck, or lunchtime. But prime time actually gives you the benefit of it doesn't matter what time zone you're looking at because it's just evening in general. Otherwise, if it's before the business day starts or lunchtime or something, you're sort of guessing unless you use time zone specific targeting. But when do you like to post? Is there something that you tend to find fits your style?
I like noontime for sure and prime time as well, but I lean more towards noontime because let's say, I mean, let's say it's 2 and I see a post from my favorite influencer. It helps me if I post it at 12, let's say I'm the influencer and I post it at 12 at 2, me seeing what the influencer is posting. I see it that way because I feel like especially now when we're all at home, we don't have the regular business hours that we usually do have.
I don't even know what year it is, to be honest. So yeah, everything has been totally wild. Um, all right, so what do we have coming up next week for everybody? We got content creation as well. Um, every
But
week at 4 o'clock.
design.
Oh, from the design perspective. So yeah, how to actually design your content for social media. So at this point, we've really gotten into the top structure of stuff, but strategy calendar, super important. Hashtags and geotags, greatest way to get organic traction. Use the same theme, just edit your post for each platform, make sure you're spot on. When you're deciding the posting schedule, take your most important piece of content, place that on your busiest day, Friday, Saturday, something where you'll get some good traction. Keep it, like Mel said, keep it consistent, super important so people know thematically every Tuesday is a testimonial and every Friday is your sale, and they'll fall into that rhythm and it'll be natural. Treasure hunt your competitors, look at their assets, treasure hunt yourself. Your About Us page probably has more stuff in there than you realize. Aside from videos and blogs and everything else, there's definitely stuff that you have unless you just started. If you really need to, go hire someone to create a blog. You can create a bunch of posts out of that. Nice, cheap, and easy. Think of seasons, quotes, industry leaders, find that inspiration. And like Melanie said, if you're doing it yourself, it's free, it's easy. Use Canva, use the platforms themselves, not too hard. And if you're working with an agency, we're going to think 100 days ahead. At this point, we would be talking about our holiday campaigns and getting that all in order. So just matters where you are and what stage. We bootstrapped ourselves. This company started with nothing. So we can help everybody from here on up. So from the little guys up to the big guys, we've got strategies to get you covered. Send us a DM if you have any questions. Otherwise, you can visit our website. And Mel, when can they catch me next time?
Next time at 4 on Wednesday.
4 o'clock next Wednesday.
Whitewall Wednesday.
Whitewall Wednesday, y'all. So yeah, send us questions if you have anything in mind. We'll get to you in the DMs, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks everyone for joining.
Bye. Thank you.
Later.